We are marking Transgender Awareness Week with an actress who made soap history. Annie Wallace, who plays Sally in Hollyoaks, became the UK's first trans actor in a regular trans role back in 2015. And she joins me now, and it's so good to see you, trailblazing that you are. It is fantastic. Now, this is Trans Awareness Week. What are you hoping from this week?
Oh, goodness me. Well, I think everyone's aware of trans people at the moment because we're in the news and the telly all the time, but often for negative reasons.
Right.
Not that it's our fault because of the negativity, just it seems to be being spread by certain groups of people. I'm hoping that Trans Awareness Week is more positivity.
Right.
It's more about achievements and what people do for the community and what we provide to the larger world as decent people living authentic lives.
Just trying to go on with your life.
Trying to get on with our lives and having a job and paying the rent.
And just, yeah, exactly. Now, you transitioned, what, were you in your 20s when you...
Yeah, mid-20s, a long time ago, late 80s, which is almost another country. And so things are very different then. I mean, if you think back, it was around the time of the HIV issue that was happening on the news and in the social world in general. And the whole LGBT community came under huge amounts of criticism and fires. And there was lots of scare stories in the press, quite similar to the stuff that's occasionally put in the press these days.
Sure.
It's a similar recycled hysteria that really has no basis in fact. So I kept my head down, and I was lucky enough that I blended in at the time.
Sure.
I was thinner, a bit more attractive. And I blended in. And so I got a job, got a flat, settled down, and just tried to get on with my life.
Sure.
And I kind of left the trans thing behind me a bit because it was something that I got over, and now I just want to get on.
Right, and
it's the ordinary.
Yeah, it's part of you, obviously, but you've always said it doesn't define you. It's obviously part of you, of course it is.
Of course, and I think I was in... There was a lot of shame tied up in it at the time, because I think that you were meant to feel ashamed of what you were back then. And I did. I was kind of a bit ashamed of it, but dirty secret.
I know, and that's not fair.
No,
People made you feel like that.
It's quite corrosive.
But you did an amazing thing, because you helped Coronation Street when they were thinking about casting and, you know, doing a trans character, who of course is Hayley, who is like my favourite character of all time. And there's a lot of you, though. You put a lot of yourself in Hayley, didn't you? When you were talking about, you know, the character and with Julie and developing the character and all of that.
So she was in for about 6 months and doing her... the initial stint that she did of meeting Roy and falling in love, and I had nothing to do with that. It was when she came back in Amsterdam. Oh, yes, the lovely scenes in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And that was the first stuff there. So then they asked me, through a third party, through my friend Christine, who was with Press for Change, would you like to help? Because you're quite keen on this storyline. I went, yeah, I'm really keen, because it's... I thought she was very much like I was at the beginning, kind of a bit shy, trying to get on, get a job, settle.
Sure.
And I said, yeah, I'm really happy to help. And that turned into like an 18-month on-off consultation with the writers, and became really good mates with Julie. She's still one of my best friends.
Oh, she's fantastic.
And it was just a lovely thing, but it was a nice secret because I wasn't out, and it was something that we all kept as a bit of a secret. And I didn't come out with it until just before I started Hollyoaks.
See, that's so interesting. Did you feel, though, that was the right time for you to tell everybody?
Yeah.
It just felt like that was, you know, you were in a really good place and you could do that.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it was... I say this to everyone. I think I turned 50 in May 2015, and I went... Do you know what? I literally am at this stage of I really don't care what people think about me anymore. I've kind of forged...
So freeing.
It's so liberating, yeah. And I just thought, this is the time to come out. And my friend Johnny, he was kind of provoking me as well. You should really come out and this kind of thing. And then we did this panel for Manchester Pride, and Julie and a few people were on it as well. We're talking about the writing for LGBT characters on soap. And Julie phoned me and says, why don't you come on the panel and claim your legacy? And I was
that's a lovely way to put it.
Let me think about it. It's a big deal. So we went along, we did it, and there was a whole pile of writers that had come along as well to watch the panel and whatnot in the corner of the room. And, you know, in panels, you go along and you introduce yourself
Yes.
and who you are. So then they came to me and I said, I'm Annie Wallace, and I was the consultant for the character of Hayley Cropper, and I've never said that to anyone before. And the writers all stood up and went, yay!
Oh, that must have been so relieving as well. And the attitude generally was positive. And then you got the Hollyoaks. I keep saying Hollywood, Annie. Oh. It's a Freudian slip, and then we want you to go to Hollywood. But Hollyoaks, of course, and that's been fantastic because, again, she's a full, rounded character who happens to be trans,
more rounded than she used to be because of lockdown.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. We're all in the same boat.
She is, and Hollyoaks came from a position of absolute honesty, of going, look, we want to introduce a character that's real and isn't just being tokenised.
Yeah.
So we've confronted it a few times because it's had to be, because of situations with family and the prison situation and whatnot. But 9 times out of 10, she's just, John Paul's her son, and she's living with the family and getting on, and she's the head teacher of the school, doing the best that she can, being a kind of stand-up role model for the community.
Yeah, no, very much so.
But she's quite flawed, and I like the fact that she's flawed.
Well, aren't we all?
Because you don't want to portray someone as too perfect.
No, because it's not real then.
No,
it's not real. I mean, this week, you know, when there's Awareness Week, and it's great that you're here to talk, because there is, as you said, there is a lot of, I don't understand the anger. There's a lot of anger around, and it's very corrosive. And, you know, we've seen social media can be a toxic cesspit sometimes, and that's hard to deal with, isn't it? For anybody, it's hard to deal with. But when right now, it feels like an awful lot of there's just this anger that I don't really understand.
There's a lot of anger, and it all stems from one thing, and that was the government wanted to tidy up the Gender Recognition Act to make it that people didn't have to go in front of this panel, and it could be a thing called self-identification. And that seemed to light a blue touch paper under a certain section of the community who found this really, really offensive. And it started like that, and it's like a rolling stone, it's gathered much moss. And now there's a lot of it, and it's been engaged by people who should know better, such as the mainstream press, such as broadcasting organisations, which I'll remain nameless, hello. And it's a shame, because a lot of it's based on lies and supposition and hysteria. And quite often, if people are confronted with the truth, it's a bit like, really? Are you sure? Yeah, these are the facts.
Which is why it's so important to get that out.
Well, yeah, and I try not to be too political. I'm a bit noisy on Twitter, but I feel I have a duty to do it because I have a public profile.
Of course. Which you use extremely well. This is something I know that we're going to be talking about again and again. Annie, we all just want to live our lives. Yeah. That's all we want to do. That's all we want to do. And you live a good life. You really do.
Yeah, it's better now. The last 6 years, definitely. Because I lived in very, very poor circumstances.
But now you're doing good.
I'm doing all right.
You're doing all right. That's all we can say. Annie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Lorraine on the ITV Hub, and all the best clips, compilations and playlists right here on our channel. Just subscribe now and you'll never miss an upload. Click here to watch another video similar to this one, or click here to head to our channel's homepage to explore all of our exciting videos.